For more information on today's program, contact Erica Taylor Montgomery at threegirlsmedia.com. Now, back to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy on the Bay Area's business leader, AM 1220 KDOW.
Good morning and welcome back to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy on 1220 AM KDOW, the Wall Street Business Network, where we help you deliver a total knockout with your PR, marketing, social media, and so much more. In round one of Punch today, we are talking about green marketing with Shel Horowitz, the author of Guerrilla Marketing Goes Green. So, Shel, let's say I'm a small business person who wants to try something green in my marketing efforts, but I don't necessarily know where to begin. Where should I start? And then how can you get your customers to notice and care about it?
Okay, well, you start by looking at what are you already doing. Let's say, for example, you bought a new printer and you decided to buy one that prints two-sided, and that's going to save you 40% of your paper costs, which is great from your pocketbook standpoint. But now you can go to your customers and say, hey, look, we're using 40% less paper. That means that people are having to cut down 40% fewer trees to supply us. And here's how you can do it, too. Let's just say maybe they sell the printer.
Sure.
So, you can really spin this thing a lot of different ways, but I always focus on the benefits to the customer, both in terms of helping the earth and in terms of helping the customer meet their own goals or solve their own problems. I think that's the magic dynamic. And, of course, I'm happy to help people one-on-one with this also. I've done some very interesting things with my clients. And it's kind of fun, because you get to be leading edge, and you also get to have the competitive advantage now, whereas in a few years from now, that advantage is going to go away because either you'll have gone green or you'll be out of business. It's not going to be an option in the fairly near future to continue the old ways of doing it. People's consciousness is so much higher now than it was.
That's absolutely true, especially here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I have found with many of my clients at Three Girls Media and Marketing that they are going green and that they are promoting that and letting their customers know, often through things like blog posts on their website or through their e-newsletters, for example, that they are doing things that are green or that they're using green products and services in their businesses. And I've definitely seen that as a growing trend, and I think that's only going to continue.
Small businesses and big businesses. If I could use the book as kind of a mini case study here, Guerrilla Marketing Goes Green, I went to the publisher and said, you will have absolutely no credibility if you print this on regular paper. You've got to use recycled.
Sure.
And they went and trumped me, and they used recycled Forest Stewardship Council certified paper, which I was very, very happy about that. I didn't suggest that to them because I didn't think they would go for it, but they were happy to do that. And
nice.
So they went beyond. And then, I talked earlier about partnerships and going in on the arm of other people. When we launched the book, I reached out to a lot of bloggers, newsletter editors, people who are fairly visible in social media, and I said, here is why you want to help me launch this book, and I gave them some benefits to them. One of which was that if they contributed a bonus gift if people buy the book, that they would then have exposure to all the other people brought in by all the other people who were helping in the campaign. And in fact, I now still offer about $2,000 worth of bonuses every time anybody buys Guerrilla Marketing Goes Green, whether they buy it from me or anywhere else. And the details about that can be found on the books page at greenandprofitable.com. greenandprofitable.com, and is spelled out.
Fantastic. So, one of the things that you have mentioned a couple of times and that I find very interesting is that you recommend that businesses seek alliances. And one of the things that I read is that you recommend that businesses seek alliances with their competitors.
Yes,
so tell me a little bit about that.
This is one of those things where the one and only time you'll ever hear me quote George W. Bush is his wonderful line, make the pie higher.
Huh.
Because that's what you're doing. You're expanding the universe here. You're coming from an abundance mentality. You are basically saying you and I together can reach people that we couldn't necessarily reach on our own. You can do this on an operations and product development level. You can do it on a marketing level. And some of the biggest companies in the world do this.
Really?
The first car I ever bought new was a 1988 Chevy Nova, built in California, designed by Toyota. And if you ever wondered, how is it that the U.S. Postal Service, which, we have been laughing at the Postal Service for decades about its frequent inability to deliver mail on time and, know where things are, how do they do express mail? How is it possible that they can offer a guaranteed next-day delivery service where they are giving money back if they don't make good on it? And here's the answer. The answer is spelled FedEx. FedEx moves express mail airport to airport. FedEx, of course, is logistically amazing, and they know where every piece of mail is in their system at all times. And they're flying full planes and being paid to fly them. And the Postal Service is able to offer express mail and knows that the mail will actually get there. So this is the kind of win-win that you can do. And, of course, the Postal Service has far greater reach than FedEx. Everybody has a mailing address.
Sure.
And FedEx can't even go to post office boxes, and the USPS, of course, since they own them, they can. So this is a partnership that makes huge sense operationally.
Yeah, fascinating. And I had no idea that FedEx was on the back end of the USPS and doing that mailing. And
I was pretty amazed when I found that out.
Yeah, and it makes perfect sense.
Small local people can do this too. I live in another area that's kind of like the Bay Area. I live in western Massachusetts. And here, for example, there's a huge restaurant industry, just like there is in the Bay Area. And the restaurateurs cooperate with each other. They have, for example, an annual restaurant fair where you can go and sample little small portions for $2, $3, $4, $5. You can get a sense of what this restaurant has to offer, and there'll be 50 restaurants around the town common doing this. And what happens is people then begin to come from outlying areas from maybe 50 miles out to go sample these restaurant foods at the fair, and then they come back during the year and they do dinner and a show or whatever, and the result is that industry has grown enormously since these ventures started.
Fantastic. If our listeners have questions about green marketing, now is a terrific time to call. Our number is toll-free, 800-516-1220. That's 800-516-1220 to call in this morning and get your questions answered about green marketing. Our guest is Shel Horowitz, the author of Guerrilla Marketing Goes Green and also the owner of Green and Profitable. And you can find him at greenandprofitable.com. So, Shel, I think that one of your boldest arguments that I have read is that companies shouldn't worry about market share because you say market share doesn't matter. Now, why in the world shouldn't businesses be focused on becoming major players in their market?
Because ultimately a better measure is profitability. And this is something you will hear Herb Kelleher, the founding CEO of Southwest Airlines, say. They started with a very tiny market share. They started, I think, with, 3 planes? Running only in Texas, but they really looked at every aspect of operation. How can we do this more efficiently? How can we do it better? How can we do this in ways that are going to help our customers meet their goals? And so, they're the only airline that you can actually change your ticket without a penalty, and one of the only ones that you can actually check a bag. And they turn their planes around so much faster than they can get a plane onto the ground and off again in about half the time that most of their competitors do. Because they have focused on profitability. And as a result of focusing on profitability, their market share has grown and grown and grown, and they were the only airline to be profitable, only American one, after 9/11. So this is a huge shift in mentality. But again, because of the abundance mentality we talked about earlier, where you're often working with your competitors, you don't care if their plate's full as long as yours is. I'm a consultant, okay? Right now, I'm not even taking on new clients until November.
Wow.
Because I have a project that's going to tie me up until then. So if somebody comes to me and says, I need some help with my green marketing and I need it now, unless it's something pretty small, I'm actually going to refer them out to one of the other people I know who does this. But in general, if I could do, as a copywriter and marketing consultant, 0.00001% of the market, I'd be working 18-hour days, 7 days a week. I don't want to do that. So,
and I don't blame you a bit. So,
and particularly like in the food industry, where a lot of the green businesses are, or in the energy services industry, you want to stay small enough to maintain the quality.
Of course.
if you get too big, you lose that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Shel, thank you so much for being on the show today. We only have about a minute left, but I do want to make sure that our guests or that our listeners know how to reach you if they have additional questions about green marketing. What's the best way to get a hold of you, Shel?
Well, the best way is to visit greenandprofitable.com, and there's a contact form there. And there's also, I will give you my phone number. It's 413-586-2388, and I am Eastern time, so do not call after about 7 p.m. California time, please. And happy to talk to you, and the book, of course, is a tremendous resource. It has so much information, and of course it comes with those $2,000 worth of special bonuses. Guerrilla Marketing Goes Green. So I would suggest that reading that would be an excellent first step. And then that, again, of course, I'm happy to work with people individually.
Fantastic. Shel, thank you so much for the wonderful information and for being a guest on the program. You're listening to Punch Media and Marketing Made Easy on 1220 AM KDOW, the Wall Street Business Network, and we'll be right back after the break.